If you're a heating air machine technician or even a salesperson, what do you need to know about taking away somebody's free will to make a decision, and why does it matter? This is a super important question. I'm Scott Sylvan Bell. I'm coming to you live from Sacramento, California on a perfect day to talk about sales and a perfect day to talk about you for HVAC technician sales secrets. All right, let's have one of these conversations that I like to refer to as difficult. And the reason I bring this up is I saw some training. Where this person was saying you have to tell people what to do. And I want you to think about this. If you've ever had little kids or been around little kids and you tell them you are going to fill in the blank, you're going to go to bed early, you're going to eat your vegetables, you're going to leave the park, like their first answer is no. And this becomes super importante when you have conversations with people who want to buy your product, your service, your widget, your gizmo. And anytime that you paint somebody into a corner, and anytime that you tell somebody this is what you have to do, just think about how this feels, right? You're watching the video. This is what you have to do. That's what it feels like. And your stomach goes, that doesn't feel too good. Ugh. That doesn't feel too good. And so the answer is no, I'm not going to do that. Now, if you pay attention to what Chris Voss teaches, which dude is super smart. Love me some Chris Voss. I'm not talking about a reverse set question like, would you be opposed to, would you be against, would it be a ridiculous idea? I'm not talking about any of the Chris Voss type questions where you're trying to get somebody to tell you no. I'm talking about where you push somebody so hard and tell them that their only option is, this is it, okay? Now, you can walk somebody to that option. You can get them to make that decision for themselves, but it's going to take a little bit of work. Now, if you pay attention to how decisions are made, you have both ends of the spectrum, okay? And then the decision slides in between. I call that a pendulum because there's an arc. There's an arc of decision making. And you can paint the picture of what that arc looks like and have somebody come to their own conclusion, make their own decision, and you get to give them their free will. And this is why you should join my email list. So I'll give you the goods. Not in the Facebook group, not in the YouTube channel, which means private coaching, private training, discounted coaching, discounted training, or something cool. Type in that URL, type it into your browser, and what will happen is it'll ask you for your name and for your email address and maybe a phone number. So when you take a look at this arc, right, you can paint that picture. And there's phrases that you could use. You could turn it into a story, right? So I talked to a company about 2 weeks ago that wanted me to come out and work with their team. And the guy was struggling. He hadn't been coaching his guys. He had the wrong person come out and train them. Sales just haven't been there. Profit's not there on the side of the company. And so I'm painting the full swing. And I started here. If it wasn't for the fact that you brought in the wrong guy, right? And he had told me that. That wasn't me telling him. If it wasn't for the fact that you brought in the wrong guy, if it wasn't for the fact that your team hasn't been working, and if it wasn't for the fact that your salespeople haven't been selling what they need to, you wouldn't be in this position. So I flipped it on him. What opportunity do you think you have? What is the best opportunity for you? And I just sat there and I was quiet. And he came back and he gave me his answer. Okay. And so as you have this conversation with people, you can paint the picture on each part. There's usually like 3 or 4, just so you know. Right? Not hundreds, not dozens, not tens. There's usually just a couple pieces across that arc that allow people to make a decision on their own and still have their free will, right? The minute that I tell you, you have to, your brain says, no, I don't. No, I don't. And I'll give you an example from the heating and air world. In furnaces, there's a pocket, and then a lot of times it's either a tube or it's a piece that looks like an airplane wing, and they just overheat and they crack. And so what technicians will do is, depending upon the area in this jurisdiction, they'll go out and they'll put a red tag on a furnace, which means I have to turn it off, which forces somebody into a decision. They either have to replace the heat exchanger, or they have to replace the furnace, or they just don't have heat. Okay? Those are like the 3 options. There's nothing else. You can explain that arc, right? Like you can go to the person and say, like, here's where you're at. 1, 2, 3. Here's your list of things that you need to know. But if I just went to you and said, I'm taking your furnace and I'm pulling it out because you can't use it, your brain goes, but no, but why? But why? I don't understand. If you learn how, or when you learn how to allow people to have their free will in the sales process, it allows for the sales to be made easier. Doesn't mean they're going to automatically close. Doesn't mean money or moolah is going to fall from the heavens. It just makes it easier for someone to make a decision. You got one of three things to do from here, just one of three. Find the subscribe button, click on it. Every time I send out a video, you'll get an update. 2, hit follow if you want. You don't have to. 3, what would be really cool is if you could share this video with a friend, because they'd be like, I love that Sylvan Bell guy. He seems pretty dang cool, which is true. We'll see you soon. Thanks for watching.